The state of the Yankees.
Because we have the state of the Yankees, baby. We're going to be talking the state of the Yankees. And then we're going to be going into a little conversation with our buddy Marty Lang about the Avengers Infinity War. We're going to talk about that for a little while. I can't wait to talk about that. It was a big movie. This is going to be a spoiler-free. I don't want to get into spoilers. Don't want to ruin it for anybody. So we will be as spoiler-free as possible. And I think we'll still have plenty to talk about. So anyway, Yankees. There's been some talk about Brandon Drury when he comes back, that there's going to be some issues over at third base. And that issue is Miguel Andujar, because they are very high on Brandon Drury. For some reason, very high on him.
Yeah, really.
I am a little confused because I think one of the things that they were always worried about with Miguel Andujar is that they were worried about his defense. Well, to me, all I've seen is a pretty decent defender over at third. I haven't seen him make many mistakes. He's hitting the ball like he should. If you have that out of your third baseman, maybe the Yankees are confused because they haven't had that out of a third baseman in a while. Maybe they don't realize what a third baseman should be bringing is good defense and offense, and they aren't used to that. And they just were like, "Oh, we need to get Brandon Drury back, who's batting." What is his batting average is like 220 or something like that. I mean, he's only got 23 at bats. He got hurt after about 5 seconds in the bigs with the Yanks. So I'm a little confused why they're doing this. I mean, Miguel Andujar is batting 300 right now. Granted, he needs to work on some plate discipline because he only has 2 walks, but I'm fine. When you're mashing at 300, you have 12 RBIs, 10 runs scored, and 3 homers, and you lead the league in doubles, I'm fine with that right now, especially since he's not in the meat of the order. He is producing. He's playing well at third. I don't understand why there's even a question. I think with Brandon Drury, I think what's going to happen is Tyler Austin's going to come off he's not going to be suspended anymore. He's going to go back to first base. Neil Walker is just going to go off into the sunset somewhere, rolling off with the tumbleweeds because he has been terrible. And I think that Tyler Austin, when he cools down, because he has proven, year after year, he gets hot and then he cools down. And when he cools down, he's an easy out. And I think when he cools down, I think then you have a discussion maybe of moving Drury to first base, because who knows when Mr. Glass is coming back. I mean, Greg Bird finds a way to get hurt all the time. He has about a month away from coming back from this latest injury. And who knows? Who knows when he'll come back and how much he'll give us when he does come back. So I think that Drury, if you want to kind of try and get something out of him, I think that's the only position right now. Or maybe you throw him around as a utility guy to kind of give people breaks, third, short, maybe. I don't know I don't even know if he can play short, but maybe third or second and first, you can kind of throw him in those positions. As of right now, I can't see how you can take Andujar out of the lineup.
You can't. You really can't. This has been troubling me all weekend since I saw an article in the Daily News that
Mr. Rosenthal, right?
Yeah.
Is it Rosenthal?
No. Ken Rosenthal's the guy who writes for The Athletic.
Oh,
no,
yeah.
this was but this was in the Daily News, and it just spoke to really what you just said, which is that the Yankees are remarkably high on Brandon Drury, and that they have been pursuing him for so long that, I mean, I guess Cashman's really got a what for this guy because I don't understand it. I mean, look, do I think Brandon Drury is what my brother would call a nice little player? Yeah, I do. I don't know that I see. I mean, the only thing I can guess is that in Brandon Drury, they see a guy who is going to blossom into what Didi has blossomed into at shortstop. Maybe they think they're putting something in the water over there in Arizona, and they just have to try and accumulate as many Arizona Diamondback assets as possible. Has it worked out well with Didi? Yes, he's picked up the MVP trophy and run away and hidden with it this year.
So far, yeah.
But Brandon Drury, look, I mean, it should not be a given that this guy should just get the third base job back once he's healthy. Look, it's not like, this wasn't like you had Manny Machado over at third or somebody who had been, a staple in the Yankees lineup for years, and it was just a given that once he came back from injury, he would automatically get his job back. No, Brandon Drury is on this team. He's a first-year Yankee, just like Andujar is.
Yes.
Andujar. So if all things are equal, which they are, then hasn't Andujar earned the right to now lose this job?
Yes.
What has Brandon Drury done in the first few weeks that he actually played, if it was even that many, that says, man, this guy absolutely gets his job back, and Andujar is sent back to the minors to, keep working on, I don't know, what does he need to work on? He leads the league in doubles. He's hitting the ball all over the place. He's got a great swing. His defense, which I know has been his, the big hang-up, doesn't seem to be a problem. It's not costing them games. He's not all over the place. He's got a cannon for an arm, which we talked about with Chris Corelli last week. Miguel Andujar is doing everything you want and more from a rookie. And look, if you were a Yankee fan, I talked about this too. We talked to Chris last week. If you're a Yankee fan, isn't this what you want? Don't you want Miguel Andujar at third? Don't you want Gleyber Torres at second? Don't you want Greg Bird at first, assuming that ever happens? But this is the team, you've got Didi at short, and although Didi's not a homegrown product, let's be honest, we've made the most of him. The Yankees have made the most of him.
Yes.
Way more than the Diamondbacks ever did. The Diamondbacks never saw him as
this is
anything.
The right ballpark for him.
Yeah, well, it's just everything's right. It's the setting is right. Everything is perfect. But you've got Judge. I mean, this is the team. This is the Yankee team with this young core that you wanted to see become the next dynasty, like that we saw start in '96 and go through 2001. And this is what you want. So why is the Yankees brass so concerned about making sure that Brandon Drury gets his spot back? What spot? It wasn't ever really his. I mean, yes, it was his because at the time that they made the trade for him before the season started, they had no other third base options. Next thing you know, they had Drury and Neil Walker came on board. Yep. And yes, to just to really quick touch on Neil Walker, his time is extremely limited. That's too bad. That's unfortunate too, because I really thought it was a good signing at the time.
It was a good signing at the time, but sometimes people just don't pan out in certain cities.
It just doesn't work out, right? And but he's played in New York and he's played well in New York, so that's the thing that but it's still different. It's a different monster. It's just a different. It's a different monster. It is the real New York, but it's a totally different animal. From one borough to the other. So and I like Neil Walker, but he's just been dreadful. I mean, just woefully bad. So he's not going to have a place on this team because once Drury is back and once Bird is eventually back, he's good as gone. I think the bigger question is, I think the bigger question is what's going to happen with Tyler Austin when Bird comes back. I mean, what do they do?
If Tyler Austin's hot, you can't bench him. I don't. This is a big mistake that Girardi made a lot, and that was, when Ellsbury got hot, he would bench him for a day to give him some rest, and that would throw him off kilter, and then he would be slump again for another 2 weeks. And I just don't understand that.
I've never understood that.
These are very much creatures of habit. You don't mess with that. Like, you don't go when Wade Boggs is sitting down to have his chicken meal before his game like he does every single day. You don't go over and smash it off the table and throw a plate of pasta in front of his face. You can find Sports and Sorts with Shane and the Bri Man on iTunes or www.sportsandsorts.libsyn.com.